Catholic Mobilizing Network works to end the use of the death penalty and promotes restorative justice. Let the Church always be a place of mercy and hope.
From 1984 to 1988, I was behind bars. No, I was not incarcerated. I was not an inmate. Rather, I was working as a correctional officer at a maximum security jail for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department in Clearwater, Florida. This was not a career I was planning on pursuing. However, after high school, I could not afford higher education on my own. So I needed a job in order to pay my way through college. So for 4 years, I worked in this maximum security jail, often with inmates who were very adversarial. Many of them were there charged with very serious crimes, and some were even convicted of their crimes, including murder, and some of them ended up going to death row. I could not wait to escape from that job. I found it very dull and very depressing. I still have dreams about it now and then, 30 years later. At the time, like I said, I could not wait to get out of that line of work and go on to graduate school to study theology and ethics, and now I am a professor doing that. So I'm glad, though, in retrospect, that I did do that work for 4 years. Memories of that time working in a maximum security jail really came back recently, though, when I taught an ethics course at a nearby prison here in Missouri. And instead of teaching inmates, however, I was teaching corrections officers and staff an ethics course. And this is also the prison where the death penalty, where executions are conducted for the state of Missouri. And during some of my classes, the students, they were very honest about how not all of them, but some of them struggle with working in a place where people are killed, are put to death. Even if these persons did horrific crimes, there's something about working there in an institution where such persons are put to death. It still had an impact on the lives of these officers and other staff at the jail. I never worked in a death row, but working in a maximum security facility, there's so much that happens there that it does something to you. Corrections officers actually have a very high divorce rate, a high suicide rate, and a lot of this is because of all the negative things that occur that impact who they are and how they act. I know that sometimes the cynicism and distrust and negativity really carried over into other spheres of my life. Now, a lot of people working in that field, they'll say, I'm just doing my job. But, according to Catholic teaching, we can't just compartmentalize our lives so easily. We have to have integrity, and we have to follow our conscience in all spheres of our life. And so I really hope that, as the church teachings continue to be shared and taught so that opposition to the death penalty grows, that consideration will be given to those who actually work in these places where executions occur. In our society right now, there's a new term called moral injury that is being used for soldiers who are returning from combat, and how even if they think what they did was right, that it was a just war, they still need some sort of healing and some sort of reconciliation. And in the past, the church used to require penance even for soldiers who fought in just wars, because there's something about fighting a war that really has a negative impact on you, and you need some sort of reintegration. And the church used to require penance also for executioners. And death penalty used to be seen as morally justified in Catholic teaching, and yet it still required penance for executioners. Why is that? If what they were doing was regarded as there's nothing wrong with it, it was still recognized that there's something about executing someone that has negative effects even on those who are involved with the execution. Today, I think that we see that. I did when I was teaching at the prison. There is something that happens, and it has ramifications for their lives, for their families. And so I think part of the opposition to the death penalty should include concern for how the death penalty actually impacts negatively those who are involved with carrying out executions.
Catholic Mobilizing Network to end the use of the death penalty and promote restorative justice.